Hi, and welcome to Behind the Masc, a show where we discuss all things men. It's good to see you, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Emmanuel, and I am the moderator for this show and a relationship coach. And today in studio with me, some two very knowledgeable men. As usual, we like to bring for you guys the guys who can bring the heat, the guys who are real, and the guys who have some serious knowledge up here. And in studio with me today is the man himself, the consulting psychologist, one Kevin. Give him a hand. Woo!
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
And today, Joseph decided to ditch us, but we got an author and a publisher by the name of Kaberia. This guy is so brilliant and has done some amazing research. Guys, he has released a book on sexuality. You know what I'm talking about, yeah? Yeah, he's released a book on sexuality, and it's value-based, and it's called Maumbile. So look for it in stores. I've got my copy, and I'm so excited about that, and I really love it. So awesome.
Karibu.
Gentlemen, welcome. It's good to see you guys. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you too.
Yeah.
Karibu.
Yeah.
You know.
By the way, yeah. It's been a while since we saw each other.
It has.
Yeah.
So far, so good though.
Very good.
Yeah.
Kaberia, welcome to the show.
Asante sana, thank you.
We're so excited to have you.
A pleasure being here.
And we can't wait to engage with you.
Asante.
Yeah, awesome. So, gentlemen and ladies out there, because I know there's some of you ladies who sneak because you want to get into the mind of your men and understand how your men think. But today we're going to talk about why men need space. I want my space. Solitude. I don't want to be bothered. And today we are really going to be talking about, is it escapism? Is it coping? What is it? And why do men need, to have this solitude? Do they need to have this solitude? What happens, in this solitude and all that? Or what even causes for them to want to be here in this place of solitude? So we're going to start right off the bat, and I think let's just start by addressing one question that probably I feel like would probably be asked more than the other one, which is escapism. Gentlemen, what is escapism?
Well, I would define it as seeking a distraction, in an ability to maybe escape or avoid negative emotions or life events, but not only negative, even positive ones. There are people who something positive can happen, they feel, hey, this is too good to be true, and they escape. So I would define it as that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I really agree. And definitely like absenteeism, maybe from absconding roles, trying to perhaps the expectation that is set on a man is so high, it feels like I need to just, I need a timeout. I need a break from this, I need to recharge, because I think it can morph into different things. You find maybe a man feels like he will resign even from the entire commitment that he has made. So
yeah. Okay. I think I agree and I connect with what you guys say. Maybe just for the regular Monanchi there, me, how I define it is that we're just running away from life and running away from issues. That's just it, simply put. They used fancy words, but I'm using, the words that we will connect with. What are the repercussions of this? What are the repercussions of this escapism?
Right.
What do you feel are repercussions that people face as a result of this escapism?
The biggest one I find is just in the household. When somebody is not present, maybe because his own parent was not present. So even the idea of a man to be X, that's never been modeled for me. So you're calling me deadbeat, but nobody ever stepped up to the plate to tell me this is exactly what a man is meant to be. This is what a man should be for his children, for his spouse, for his community, even for his brothers, So if that's missing, then we have a really huge gap societally.
To add on that also, I think one of the repercussions is things pile up, right? Okay, you see, escapism is very natural for every human being. I mean,
Male, female.
yeah, male or female.
Yeah.
You know, when we're met with an issue, our natural instinct is to stray away or find a distraction or find a replacement of something that will make us feel good.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're not dealing with the issues, if we are finding distractions, you know, frequently, things will pile up.
Yeah.
And it will reach a point that we can't escape anymore, and these distractions can't work anymore. So when we reach that breaking point, vitu zina lipuka, you know?
Yeah.
So a pile up of issues
Yeah.
that is also causing a lot of mental health issues is one of the repercussions of escapism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
there's also positive escapism, but
Sure.
well,
No,
I'll leave it at that.
let's hear that,
Yeah.
because it would be good to hear that. What does
Yeah.
what is positive escapism?
I think, like, for example, if you're in the midst of a lot of difficulty, I don't see a problem with you taking a step back, you know, taking a break from everything, looking at it again. And once you're maybe better settled, or, you know, you feel more emotionally stable, or you feel like you've put your thoughts together, now you can address it. Also, you see, in the hospital where I consult, we talk about environments a lot of the time. And the environment has to be conducive to your recovery or what you're trying to achieve with your health. Now, if we feel your environment is not at par with what we're trying to achieve with your mental health, escape is kidogo tu, temporary. You know, we change environment, you escape from that environment kidogo. Once we sort out the symptoms and we sort out the environment where it's conducive for you, now you can go back. So that's what I meant.
It's interesting you say that. I actually do apply that, but I never thought of it as escapism or positive escapism. And I've done this with couples in the therapy room, where I've told them it's time to remove the clutter, deal, and then come back.
Exactly.
So yeah, man, thank you for bringing that out. Because for me, escapism had a negative connotation. Yeah, this whole time. But actually, it actually can be a good thing.
It can be, yeah.
Okay. So that's something new we learned for today.
Yeah.
And one of the other repercussions I think about it is we don't deal with issues. So that means things being kept swept under the rug.
Exactly.
And you know, this is not a good thing, because then one day there'll be a mound which there's a whole bunch of stuff that you need to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the common ways that, you know, you feel like men tend to cope, or to put, what structures do men put to cope with issues and struggles that they might be facing, or problems that they're facing within society?
Perhaps a few, like, we can talk of maybe the more damaging ones. We'll say, like, you know, turn to drugs, or, you know, ever in the club, alcohol, you know, all these become like crutches that you end up leaning on them.
Yeah.
Because siwezi enda home. Say nikiingia kwa nyumba saa hii. So that's probably one of the angles. Sometimes even you know, mistresses, mpango wa kando, all those can be avenues where a man will feel like, you know.
So you have said drugs, you've said alcohol at the kalokol before you go home, and then you've said sex, the mistresses and the concubines and whatever you want to call them.
That's right.
And then mpango wa kandos. Those are ways. Those are some of the negative.
Some of the negative ones.
And
so if we try and rethink what would be positive ways, because I love what Kevin, you mentioned, is it sounds like a vacation, and every man needs a little vacation. Just recharge. Just recharge. So gym inaweza kuwa mzuri. Just go, hit the gym, hizo weights kidogo, or sport kiasi, you know, or even a hobby. If you have the luxury of that would be a really wonderful way of, you know, stepping away from the intensity of day to day, and coming back now a bit recharged from what you have to face.
Okay. What other ones do you have you heard of, like ways men cope?
Well, okay, to add on what he mentioned about the negative ways,
Yeah.
and the examples he gave, yeah, all those activities or substances, they have a dopamine response. And that's why, you know, you'll find the person really trying to or really being consistent on that activity. Now, in your brain, you have the pleasure and reward system. And
So
in
is this now a definition of what dopamine is?
yeah, I'm trying to talk about the yeah, I was getting there. I was getting there.
You're
guys.
helping all us watching.
Yeah. So in your brain, you have your pleasure and reward system.
Right.
And this part of your brain is where dopamine really tends to thrive. Now, when you're
Where
doing
dopamine is an enzyme.
dopamine is a neurotransmitter or a hormone that is responsible. That's a good question.
Almost.
Dopamine is a neurotransmitter or a chemical in the brain that is responsible for pleasure.
Yes.
You know, when you're feeling thrilled, when you're feeling pleasure, when you're feeling joy, it's the chemical that's responsible for that. It's activated in the brain and then you feel these things, right? Now, in this pleasure and reward system, dopamine tends to thrive there. And as I said, naturally we escape, right? So you'll find that if your brain gets that dopamine response that is helping you escape from the difficulty, your brain will want more and more of that. Yeah. So even when it's a positive, escape or coping mechanism, a lot of the time, if it has a dopamine response, you'll find the person being more consistent with that.
So is this what like an alcohol will provide?
Exactly. When we drink alcohol, it floods the brain with dopamine. That's how we get, you know, intoxicated.
And get happy. And
Yeah,
stuff.
you get happy. You
Drugs
know.
does the same thing.
Exactly.
So sex does the same thing?
Sex does the same
It
thing.
makes you get
Even
that
gambling.
Oh, yes.
Even gambling. Yeah. The thrill, like the
Yeah.
anticipation of a big win.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So social media. So
Yeah.
all these things, dopamine. So if the healthy or the positive.
Wait, you just said social media.
Yes.
Yeah.
At a what?
Yeah. Social media also has a dopamine response. Like there are people who, when they see likes, they're like, wow, you know, the brain
You're right.
firing.
Even you.
Funny people are not commenting.
I have a confession.
Yeah.
I post like deep stuff
Come
and
on.
I get 2 likes
Yeah.
and 3 likes and it's always from the same person and one of them is my wife and the other one is my sister. So the other day I posted something, you know, Diani things, nini. Hey, that thing got likes. Almost
And I'm
100
sure
likes.
you were looking at it a lot.
But
eh?
I even
More
looked
often
at
than-
everybody. I looked at everybody who wrote, and then the ones I don't recognize, I went to the profile. I got such a high. You're right, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
But I just want to add journaling also can be a positive way of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's processing and temporary escapism, but processing as well.
So now that you bring that up, just as a way of update, I've actually journaled. I've actually journaled.
This one, good job.
So Kaberia, there was a thing that in the show where they challenged me and I told them that, you know, they need to hold me accountable for being able to put my thoughts on paper. So I have actually journaled, good people. I think I have a good 10 journals that I've journaled.
Wow.
And yeah, they exist.
Good job. Good job.
So
is it working?
It's working. It feels good. It feels good. And I go back and read, you know, what I've written. And it has helped me learn a lot about myself, by the way. I didn't know this was me and how my thoughts were. Oh, but yes, journaling also gives dopamine effect. Yes, you're right. Because I actually felt a kind of a relief. I felt like, I'd wusad. Awesome. So let me ask you then, is journaling a positive mechanism that we can use for you know, as opposed to some of the negatives that you have said, that have been mentioned? Or what are other mechanisms that we can use, like to get the same effect but work for us and are not damaging to our lives and to the loved ones and to the people around us.
I resonate so much, even on the point of journaling, because it's hard for men to express themselves. Really a challenge. And even to have, I think the step up from a journal would be like community up, or like with brothers you can lean on, who can actually like hear you out. And when you are drowning, life is just all over, you feel like running away, and you can actually reach out and tell somebody, you know what, chaos is on my side, where are you? And that's somebody who will be reliable, somebody who can lean on, you know, and be strong for you in that, in the issues you're facing. So that would definitely be like, for me, the number one. How do we ensure as men we have such strong community, such reliable men, solid men? There's a shortage of really solid men.
That's true.
That we can stand by and even stand with, you know, and be able to hold them up. So for me, those would be my really biggest ones.
You know, it's interesting. I was talking to a couple and I was explaining to them, I was trying to explain to them, the woman, the wife and the man, what the differences are. And I was saying, for a woman, you're taught to express your emotions from a young age. So you know how to express your emotions and you don't struggle with it. For me as a man, I'm told, you know, anything I'm told, don't talk, stop complaining, you know, all this. So I grow up learning that I need to solve or make all my solutions internally. So when I come to you, my boys, and you know, I have a marriage problem, I'll be like, hey, my guy, man, at home, hey, my guy, it's kubaya, it's bad. Then they'll be like, it's bad, it's burning, eh? I'll be like, yeah, it's burning. Good man, strong. You know, and that was the end of the and that was the end of the conversation. I've told you it's bad, it's burning, and you guys understood that it was burning. and you told me we're with you. You can make it strong. And it's over. So we don't express ourselves. So in as much as I told you that, there's not that release of defining what is the issue, what are the problems, what I'm going through, and there's not that helping to process. Whereas our sisters, they will have a conversation and tell all the details. And imagine, and you know, and they go
questions.
And they ask questions like he did what?
Like, what did he say?
Like. And you are listening, and I'm like, let the girl finish. You get, so they actually now process and allow everything to come out. So they have a wusa moment. So I really like that. Thanks for sharing that. What other positive or what other ways do we need to rethink this whole thing of escapism, and can we really rethink it?
I mean, you know, I think the way it's defined, basically, like it's what works for you. I don't think we can generalize in terms of, okay, is escapism good for you or not, like in the general public or for all men. I think it's you as an individual to explore that and see if it works for you. But I think also starting with, what are the resources that I have for my wellness? You know, what are the resources in terms of people, places, and things that I have for my coping, for my wellness, for decompressing, for my positive escape? I think that's the part to start from, because you know, you have to identify what you have so that you know what approach to take. I think
just sorry to interject. So even as you're asking yourself that question, somebody might be out there and saying that, okay, you're saying that, so what does that mean for me? Like, can you give me tangible things that you know that are escapism things that are positive? Like, you know, he mentioned journaling, which I think is fantastic. I'm learning how to do that, good people. Maybe I'll even publish that journal one day when I become important. But yeah, you know, just this journaling. You earlier on you mentioned gymming.
You can go for a walk, for example, like a nature walk. I think you mentioned
how
you enjoy.
I like going for nature walks.
green spaces.
Green spaces, yeah.
Another way can even be through conversation. You know, calling someone who you feel has your best interest, or a friend of yours or family member that you're close to, or you feel comfortable sharing with. It could be a conversation about anything.
So for a man, what is that?
Yeah.
Sharing. And I think that's men, that's a word that's in the dictionary and the English language.
Yes.
But
Practical.
Expressive.
DNA.
Unafungua roho.
DNA operating system.
Yeah.
That's another story altogether.
I think I really like for me my personal escape is exercise. I like to run, but I really like combat sports. And I think that would be a really super escape.
Yeah.
Something that makes your blood rush, make you feel more alive than previously. Let me tell you nothing. When you receive a blow on the cheek, and men should receive blows sometimes. You just wake up and realize, hey, wait a minute, there's way more to this. Yeah, I could have died. And that's why, on a very serious note, that's why young guys on motorbikes doing crazy stuff. Because men need their blood to rush. Testosterone just makes you you need to be somewhere close to the edge. But if it's 9 to 5, work home, church, work home. There's little room for you to actually wrestle with someone. Don't pick a fight. I'm not endorsing picking fights, but generally let your masculinity have some free reign. As much as possible. As much as possible.
It's funny you talk about combat sports, because that's how I escape.
That's how you escape.
That's how I escape. So it's that's very true.
So other than journaling, ladies and gentlemen, but good people, thank you so much. That's really amazing. We're going to take a break for a few minutes, and we're going to get a word from the sponsors, and then we'll be right back with part 2 of why do men need space. And we're talking about escapism on Behind the Mask. Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're tuned in, you're watching Behind the Mask, where we talk about all things men. And today we're talking about why men need to escape. And we have been talking about escapism, coping, and all that. So in the first half, we were just trying to identify the problem and talking about why it happens and stuff. So in this second half, we're going to now get a little bit deeper. Or is it deeper? Yeah, deeper. Awesome. So for me, let me start this segment by asking, what is the difference between escaping responsibility, or rather escaping responsibility, or coping through responsibility? What is the difference between those two? You can start with your Kaberia.
Perfect. We have really critical choices we have to make daily, and they have a compounding effect. Those choices that we make, and we started by mentioning, if we leave those things unattended, you don't give attention to the reality of maybe it's an issue of joblessness, maybe it's an issue of not a working relationship, maybe it's an issue of a child that is your responsibility that you're not really invested in. There are basically two things we are doing. Either we want to face up to that issue, or we're going to be we're going to run around and just avoid actually engaging with the realities of where we are and what, as a man, we are supposed to be delivering on. So for me, it's that plain. Either are we stepping up, or are we failing to show up?
I think also another difference is, you see, you can cope. Coping doesn't mean you're escaping. Like, you could be, let's say, if this room gave me a lot of difficulty, right? Now, if every day I entered this room and I had to do what I needed to do in this room, I'm coping. I'm trying to cope with the difficulty to get what I need to get done. Escaping, in my opinion, would be more of, I wouldn't be entering this room, right? Or I'd be avoiding this room, you know, a lot more often at all costs. So I think you can cope, I mean, you can cope with difficulty, but that doesn't mean you're escaping. Escaping just means that you're not exposed, maybe, or you're not exposing yourself to that difficulty or trigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then let me ask you, as men,
Yeah.
what are ways that we can cope with the difficulties that we face, you know, in society and not have to escape it? For example, we are in the studio. Our producer keeps, cut, you didn't sit up. So how then do you cope with that? That, you know, they're constantly telling you these things that are not building you, but they want production from you. And these are things we're all facing in the workplace, especially if you think about people in corporate, people in business. There's what you need to achieve, and all these people shouting at you, and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So the easiest thing is, let me go to the local and let me just numb this pain, which is what a lot of us, you know, or rather a lot of men out here are doing.
True.
So my question then is, what can we do? What are the tangible things we can do then to cope with this issues that we are facing? Because life is happening. Let's face it, we can't run away from it. It'll happen everywhere, whether it's at home, whether it's in society. Now it's in politics now. We're all trying to figure out how we'll deal with all these people, and they're shouting and they're jumping and they're going here and they're this. It's every single place that we go. Whether it's in our marriage, our parenting, kids are all crazy and doing all sorts of, funky stuff. So how then do we now say, life is going to happen, but in spite of life happening, these are the things that I'll do to be able to cope?
We need to, like, really intentionally invest in ourselves. Really, really intentionally, you know. For you put in place shock absorbers, you know. That would be my take, because I really believe men are forged by adversity. Men are forged by, and more so, men are forged by God himself, you know. And so things that are thrown your way, coming your way, they may knock you down. And surely some definitely will, right? But have we been building that capacity in ourselves, in what we are feeding our mind, in what we are giving our bodies, even in terms of just basic nutrition, you know, really important, right? Sometimes, please, go buy that shirt. You know, men are the least celebrated. Least celebrated.
You're right.
You know.
You're right. Is there a Men's Day, first of all?
Question. Men's Day is
and
same
Father's
day
Day,
as International Toilet Day.
Seriously?
Yes.
By the way, you're right. So
Yes,
that's what I had.
it's a
Was
fact.
it last year I had?
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you talk of Mother's Day, when you talk of Mom's birthday, did you go on your dad's birthday to go celebrate him? Did you go just to say,
Wait,
just
when
to
is
appreciate your
when
dad?
is his birthday?
Question. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So really, really solid men are never celebrated. They are never noticed. They are going through it. They are delivering. Nothing doing. Right?
So a positive coping mechanism in this case, for example, what you just said, could be affirming.
One.
Affirming men.
Affirming man. You as a man, celebrate yourself. Go get that nice shoe. Get that nice shirt. Yes. That escape. Go. Maze, go treat. Si lazima weke sumu kwa mwili. Go treat pole pole. Yeah.
Self-care.
Self-care, right.
Take self-care.
Yes.
I mean.
In moderation. But that would be really, really crucial. Just for your own recharging, for your own reminding, your own refreshing yourself for the journey, and to brace yourself even for whatever hurdles might come, you know, in the days ahead. So for me, that would be a really important starting place. Yeah.
Self-care, I completely agree. I think also it starts from acceptance as well. Because have you accepted that there's difficulty and I'm having a difficult time? Because if that acceptance doesn't happen, then a lot will not move, right?
Yeah.
I think even social capital, you know, having those people that have your best interest, nurturing these meaningful friendships, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
You know, people who you can talk to and, you know, decompress, debrief, you share advice, meaningful conversations. Si ile ati strong, utakuwa sawa, kazana, take time, you know. So I think that also helps. I will also say therapy, of course, you know, which is, you know, a safe space where you can express yourself without judgment, you can unpack, you can allow yourself to feel, be vulnerable without judgment. And, you know, as they say, when we allow ourselves to feel, it shows a lot of courage, right? So, those are the ones I would add.
I like the train of thought that you've expressed, because what you're saying is that, one, I need to look at myself as a man. And the way, unfortunately, we are wired is we are wired that mwanaume ni effort, mwanaume ni kukazana, mwanaume ni solution, mwanaume. We are given all these labels that we are solution, we are doing. So in everything, in fact, a lot of couples that sit in front of me, a lot of them will tend to say, you know, he doesn't share his problems. He just doesn't tell. He went through this alone. Imagine. So I'm there, and he was saying, I couldn't believe that he was, and they cry and they go all nuts. But the man is saying, the way I'm wired is I bring a solution. I don't bring a problem to the table. I bring a solution to the problem. But it's also for you to understand that I have my limitations.
Exactly.
I have my limitations.
I don't
so
have
it's
all
okay.
the answers.
I don't have all the answers. And then also now getting to the place of therapy, which, oh man, that is just like, I've been trying all year long. He has refused to come into this counseling session. And I'm just like, well, it's because of the way he's wired. But it's interesting how they engage once somebody else hears them and somebody else understands them and connects with them. They become a totally different person when they leave that therapy session. So that's actually a powerful thing. I just felt I need to highlight it. But also one of the things that we can do, because I feel like sometimes therapy means you have to get some money and you're going to see this counselor or this person. And then society has this thing about stigma that if you're going to see this person, you have issues. Wewe una shida, ndio umeenda huko, what is the problem? But there's this thing as men that we can create. I remember this one day, one of my pals, we were just sitting and I think it was I think an event had happened. So he asked, hey guys, so how are you really doing? Like, how are you really doing? Like, how's your marriage? How is your parenting? How is work going? Man, that day I was so shocked. These people who I thought had it all together were saying all these things, but it created such a space that, do you know, these guys meet every so often to have that space, because finally I had a space where I can say my issues and what I'm going through, and somebody else will be like, man, my guy, I feel you. In fact, the other day,
and I'm not
the
being
wife,
judged.
And I'm not being judged.
And
I think that's what men need, and I think it's important for us to be able to create those spaces,
those safe
so that
spaces.
we can, so that we can, you know, be able to find natural spaces for therapy. And I feel like that's what the men back in the day used to do in our
That's
traditional
exactly.
settings. Huh?
Exactly.
You know, we grew up in a clan. Nowadays, we are stuck in our homes. We just meet outside. I'm in my car. You're in your car. Your Subaru. Then me, I'm in my Paso. Him is in his Range Rover, and we're sizing each other up half the time. But when you grow up in community, you have that opportunity to talk.
Oh yeah, and it even contributes directly to even how long you live. There's this village in Italy, I've forgotten the name, but they have the highest number of centenarians, right? People who live 100 and above. And they found that the reason why these people are living that long, and it's in a rural area, it's their social interaction. They're so community-based that when one person has an issue, they come together and they help that person. And even, I think they also went as far as testing them for stress-related disorders. And they found that a lot of them, the predisposition, or rather their vulnerability to getting these conditions was quite low. And it's just that camaraderie, feeling like there are these people I can talk to, these people who have my best interest, and not feeling judged as well. That contributes a lot. So I do agree, those spaces, and I'm seeing some few spaces coming up. They're very necessary. Very
so then how then can we change the understanding of society so that they can see this, differently, or understand the needs of men differently? How can we change society?
I think it starts like a very personal level for me as a man. I should not think of myself as an island. This idea that I need to start from scratch and get it to the apex bare hands.
As a soloist.
Bare hands.
Yeah.
No, our elders didn't do that. The idea of an age set, Rika, talking to an elder, listening to grounded men, so important. Because you can't do it alone. So that for me is so primary, and I've been privileged personally to be able to work with men my age, young guys. We courted together, our spouses, we got married together, we raising kids together. So when I share with them, we are resonating on a really, really good frequency. I tell the guy, hey, missing a kazi, hey, atawe, shike apply. There's an opportunity here. Let's do this. What can we do? What can we be thinking about? And for me, it's reached a place whereby, there's this jealousy that even siblings can have, because hey, he's driving before me. Alipata upper class na misi kwenda kampo, that sort of thing can actually dissolve when we purpose to do life together. Because for me, I'm so invested. I'm like, either una breakthrough ama ni mimi. But either way, you're so invested in who I am or where I'm going that you delight to see me prosper. Women do that. Women lift each other. Chamas, table banking. Where do men do that? Where do men actually take time and say, if I raise this man, if I raise my son, you get what I'm saying? They will be able to actually make a lasting impression on men and the community at large. So for me, that's been very, very, very evident. I've been able to be embraced by men and embrace men and be like, we can actually make more than has been said before. Men are trash. There's another narrative.
So I like that it begins with the self and just understanding that I'm not an island. That I need my fellow brothers for them to be able to speak into my life.
That's right.
I think even like, the way we define things also, the way we define masculinity, it can't be one-dimensional. And I think we need to also, the way we are socializing our children, the young men, we need to add the narrative of, you being vulnerable, also being in touch with your emotions, you seeking help is also part of being a man, So those definitions and how we're and socializing, how we're socializing our kids now currently is very important. I think bigger picture wise, it will change a lot, from the grassroots.
Yeah. So good people, our time is gone, but I really love this conversation. I really wish we could do like a part 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, because there's just a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But I love the things that we have mentioned here. And we have actually begun defining those different ways that men can do things.
Exactly.
One is self-awareness. 2 is to understand you're not an island. 3 is to be able to talk about it and talk about the issues. Again, all these things we are not taught. We are just figuring it out and getting these one-liners. So we figure this is what masculinity is. So we are trying to achieve this, and it's the wrong way to do it. And it's hurting us more than it's building us. And I think it's important for us to be able to rediscover or redefine that, so that our status and our lives can change for the positive, so that we are coping positively as opposed to escaping the issues. Awesome, man. Thank you guys. You guys have been amazing. I've really appreciated both of you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, Fifth Estate, which can be found on Pang Free to Air, GoTV, and Star Times, and also on YouTube. We really appreciate you. Have a good one, and see you on the next show.